The spaceship named Eternal Horizon came down slowly through the orange clouds of Earth Prime. Inside the ship, Ambassador Kevin Park held his daughter's hand tightly. Little Lily Park was only 7 years old, and she was looking out the window with big, curious eyes. She held a small stuffed toy against her chest. It was a honey badger, her favorite animal in the whole world. Kevin did not want to bring his daughter to this alien planet, but the Varadi had demanded it. They said they wanted to see a human family. They said it was part of their culture to meet the children of leaders. Kevin knew it was really a power move. The aliens wanted to show that they could make humans do anything they wanted. His wife Grace Kim sat in the back of the ship, watching screens full of data. She was a scientist who studied alien life. Her job was to learn everything about the Varadi and find their weaknesses. So far, she had learned that they were very dangerous. They had sharp body parts that could cut through metal. They had conquered many planets and killed millions of beings. 3 soldiers sat near the door, checking their weapons one last time. Daniel Lee was the leader. He was a quiet man with cold eyes who had fought in many battles. Brian Cho was younger, always making jokes to hide his fear. Michelle Song was the only woman among them, but she was the deadliest of all. These 3 had sworn to protect the Park family with their lives. The ship touched the ground with a soft bump. Kevin took a deep breath. He looked at his daughter and tried to smile. "Remember what Daddy told you, Lily. Stay close to me. Don't talk to the aliens unless they talk to you first. And if anything bad happens, you run to Michelle. She will keep you safe." Lily nodded. She did not look scared. Kevin sometimes wondered if his daughter understood fear at all. She had always been a strange child, quiet, watching, thinking. Her teachers said she was very smart, but also very different from other kids. The door of the ship opened. Hot air rushed in, carrying a strange smell like burnt metal and dead flowers. Kevin stepped out first, then helped Lily down. The 3 soldiers followed, their eyes moving everywhere, looking for danger. The Varadi were waiting for them. Kevin had seen pictures, but pictures could not prepare him for the real thing. The aliens were huge, at least 12 feet tall. They looked like insects from Earth, but much bigger and much more terrifying. Their bodies were covered in hard shells that shined like black glass. They had 4 arms, each ending in claws that looked sharper than any knife. Their faces had no expression, just big dark eyes and mouths full of teeth that clicked together when they moved. There were 30 of them standing in a half circle. Behind them stood a building made of black stone that reached up into the orange sky. Strange symbols were carved into the walls. Kevin did not know what they meant, but they made him feel cold inside. One Varadi stepped forward. It was bigger than the others, and its shell had golden marks on it. This was the High Arbiter, the leader of all Varadi. Kevin had studied everything about this creature. It had lived for 300 years. It had personally killed the leaders of 12 different alien species. It enjoyed pain the way humans enjoyed music. "Ambassador Kevin Park," the High Arbiter said. Its voice was like rocks grinding together. A small device on Kevin's ear translated the words. "You have come. Good. The Varadi respect those who obey." Kevin bowed his head slightly. Not too much. Humans did not bow low to anyone. "High Arbiter, thank you for receiving us. Earth hopes that we can find peace between our peoples." The High Arbiter made a sound that the translator said was laughter. But it did not sound like laughter. It sounded like bones breaking. "Peace. Yes, there will be peace. The peace that comes when the weak accept the rule of the strong." The alien's dark eyes moved down to look at Lily. "You bring a larva. A child. How strange. How weak. Your species treasures its young ones too much. This is why you will never be great." Lily looked up at the huge alien. She did not hide behind her father. She did not cry. She just looked, her dark eyes meeting the alien's eyes without fear. Kevin put his hand on his daughter's shoulder. My daughter is here because you requested a family, High Arbiter. She is young, but she is brave. Brave. The alien clicked its teeth. Bravery is for those who have something to prove. The Verati have nothing to prove. We simply are. We take what we want. We destroy what we do not want. This is the law of the universe. Grace's voice came through the tiny speaker in Kevin's ear. Only he could hear her. Kevin, I'm reading their body language. They're trying to scare us. It's working on some level, but stay calm. They respect strength. Don't show fear. Kevin kept his face still. We have come to talk, High Arbiter. Earth wants to understand what the Verati want from us. The alien leaned down, bringing its horrible face close to Kevin's. Its breath smelled like death. Want? We want everything. Your planet. Your resources. Your people. Your children. Its eyes moved to Lily again. Especially your children. Young ones are easier to train. Easier to break. Easier to remake into something useful. Kevin's heart was beating fast, but he did not let his face show anything. Behind him, he heard Daniel's hand move toward his gun. Kevin made a small signal with his fingers. Not yet. Not now. Lily squeezed her stuffed honey badger tighter. Then she did something that surprised everyone. She smiled. It was a small smile, just a little curve of her lips. But the High Arbiter saw it. The alien pulled back slightly, confused by this tiny human child who was not afraid. Your larva smiles at me, the alien said. Does it not understand danger? Kevin looked down at his daughter. He did not understand either. But somewhere deep inside, he felt a tiny spark of hope. His daughter knew something. She always knew things that others did not. My daughter understands more than you think, Kevin said quietly. Much more. The High Arbiter stared at them for a long moment. Then it turned and walked toward the black building. Come, we will show you the power of the Verati. Then you will understand why your Earth will soon belong to us. The humans followed, walking into the shadow of the alien building. Above them, the three suns of Verith Prime burned in the orange sky. And in her arms, Lily held her honey badger, whispering something to it that no one else could hear. Don't worry, she said to the toy. They don't know about us yet, but they will. The inside of the Verati building was dark and cold. Strange lights glowed on the walls, making everything look blue and sick. Kevin walked with his hand on Lily's shoulder, keeping her close. The three soldiers walked behind them, their eyes never stopping their search for threats. The High Arbiter led them down long hallways. On the walls, there were pictures carved into the stone. They showed Verati warriors killing other aliens, burning cities, taking prisoners. Each picture was a story of pain and death. The Verati wanted their visitors to see these things. They wanted humans to understand what would happen if they did not obey. Lily looked at the pictures, but said nothing. Her face showed no emotion. Kevin wondered what was going on inside his daughter's mind. She was always thinking, always watching, always learning. Sometimes it scared him a little. They came to a large door. Two Verati guards pushed it open. Beyond was a huge room, bigger than any building Kevin had ever seen on Earth. It was shaped like a bowl, with rows of seats going up the walls. In the middle was a pit made of dark sand. Thousands of Verati sat in the seats, clicking their teeth in excitement. This is our arena of truth, the High Arbiter said. Here, we show the weak what happens when they stand against us. Sit, watch, learn. Kevin and his group were taken to seats near the front. They could see everything in the pit below. Kevin did not want Lily to watch, but there was no way to leave. The Varadi guards stood behind them, blocking any escape. Grace's voice came through his earpiece. "Kevin, I'm watching through the drones. Whatever happens, don't react. They're testing us, looking for weakness." Kevin gave a tiny nod that only he and Grace would understand. A door opened in the wall of the pit. A creature was pushed out into the sand. It was an alien Kevin had never seen before. It had 6 legs and was covered in soft brown fur. Its eyes were large and gentle, like a deer from Earth. It looked around the arena with terror, shaking so hard it could barely stand. "This is a Melian," the High Arbiter explained. "Their planet fell to us 20 years ago. They are weak, soft, good only for labor. But sometimes one of them tries to run away, to escape. This one killed a Varadi guard while trying to flee." The alien's voice became cold. "Now it will learn why escape is impossible." Another door opened. A Varadi warrior walked out into the pit. It was not as big as the High Arbiter, but it was faster. Its claws were longer and sharper. It moved like a snake, smooth and deadly. The Melian tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The walls of the pit were too high and too smooth. The crowd of Varadi clicked their teeth faster and faster, excited for what was coming. The Varadi warrior attacked. Kevin wanted to close his eyes. He wanted to cover Lily's eyes, but he knew the aliens were watching him. He had to show no weakness. So he watched. It was over in 11 seconds. The Melian did not even have time to scream. The warrior's claws cut through its body like it was made of paper. Blood sprayed across the sand. The crowd roared with pleasure. Thousands of aliens celebrating death. Kevin felt sick. Beside him, Daniel's hands were shaking with anger. Brian had gone pale. Michelle's face was like stone, but her eyes burned with cold fire. And Lily? Lily was looking at the dead Melian with something strange in her eyes. Not fear, not sadness. Something else. Something that looked almost like calculation. The High Arbiter turned to Kevin with what might have been a smile. "This is what awaits those who resist the Varadi. Your Earth has 2 choices. Ambassador. Submit and serve us. Or die. Every man. Every woman. Every child. We will take your planet and burn everything on it. Then we will use your bones to build monuments to our glory." Kevin's throat was dry. He wanted to say something brave, something strong, but no words came. "Your silence tells me you are beginning to understand," the High Arbiter said. "Good. Tomorrow, we will discuss the terms of Earth surrender. Your planet will give us its resources, its technology, its labor." The alien leaned closer. "And its children. We need young ones for our breeding programs. Human genetics are interesting. We wish to study them." Now Kevin found his voice. It came out hard and sharp. "Earth will never give you our children." The crowd went quiet. The High Arbiter's eyes grew darker. "You refuse? Before you have even heard our terms?" "Some things don't need terms. Some things are not for discussion. Our children are one of those things." The High Arbiter stared at him for a long moment. Then it made that horrible laughing sound again. "You are brave, Ambassador. Stupid, but brave. I will enjoy breaking you." It turned to its guards. "Take them back to their ship. Let them think about what they have seen. Tomorrow they will be more agreeable." As the guards led them out of the arena, Lily tugged on Kevin's hand. He bent down to hear her. "Daddy," she whispered, "the honey badger doesn't run from lions." Kevin looked at his daughter, confused. "What?" "The honey badger fights, always, even when it's small, even when everything is bigger. It never gives up. It never surrenders. And it never, ever lets anyone hurt its family." Kevin stared at his daughter. Where had she learned to talk like this? She was only 7 years old. Grace's voice came through his earpiece, excited. Kevin, I've been scanning the Variety. I found something. Their shells, their armor, it's not as strong as it looks. There are cracks, weak points. They're like glass that looks like steel. Hit them the right way, and they shatter. Kevin felt something change inside him. Fear was still there, but now there was something else too. Hope and anger. A cold, quiet anger that was beginning to burn. He picked up Lily and carried her back to the ship. Behind him, the soldiers walked in silence, but Kevin could see the same fire in their eyes. The Variety thought they had won. They thought they had scared the humans into submission. They were wrong. They had made the worst mistake any predator could make. They had threatened a human's child. And now, deep in the hearts of 5 humans, something ancient was waking up. Something that had helped humanity survive ice ages and plagues and wars. Something that made humans the most dangerous animal on their planet. The Variety had studied human weapons. They had studied human technology. They had studied human history. But they had never studied what a human parent would do to protect their child. They were about to learn. The next morning came with a blood-red sunrise. The 3 suns of Vareth Prime rose together, painting the sky in colors that looked like fire. Kevin had not slept. None of them had. They had spent the whole night talking, planning, preparing for what might come. Grace had worked through the night, studying every piece of data she could find about the Variety. She had found more weak points. The joints where their arms connected to their bodies. The thin skin beneath their jaws. The gaps between the plates of their armor. And most importantly, she had discovered that their eyes were very sensitive. Bright light caused them pain. Daniel, Brian, and Michelle had checked their weapons again and again. They had practiced fighting in the small space of the ship. They had made plans for every situation they could think of. They knew they were probably going to die. But if they were going to die, they would take as many Variety with them as they could. Lily had slept peacefully, holding her honey badger toy. Kevin had watched her for hours, wondering how his little girl could be so calm. When she woke up, she looked at him with those strange dark eyes and said just one thing. "Today is the day, Daddy. I can feel it." Kevin did not know what she meant. But her words stayed with him as they walked back to the Variety building for the second day of negotiations. The meeting room was large and dark. The High Arbiter sat on a throne made of bones. Around the room stood 20 Variety warriors, their claws ready, their eyes watching every move the humans made. Kevin counted them carefully. 20 warriors, plus the High Arbiter. 21 enemies against 5 humans and 1 little girl. The odds were not good, but humans had faced worse odds before. Kevin thought about the stories his grandfather used to tell him. Stories about soldiers who fought against impossible numbers and won. Stories about ordinary people who became heroes when they had no choice. Maybe today would be one of those stories. The High Arbiter spoke first. "Have you thought about what you saw yesterday, Ambassador? Have you decided to accept your place?" Kevin stood tall. "I have thought about it, and my answer is the same. Earth will talk about trade, about peace, about cooperation, but we will not surrender, and we will never give you our children." The air in the room became cold. The Variety warriors shifted, their claws making soft clicking sounds on the stone floor. "You are testing my patience, human," the High Arbiter said. "Perhaps you do not understand. We are not asking. We are telling. Your children belong to us now. Every human under the age of 10 will be taken to Vareth Prime. They will be raised as servants of our empire. They will forget Earth. They will forget their parents. They will become tools for our use." Kevin's hands made fists. Behind him, he heard Daniel's breath become faster. Michelle's hand moved slowly toward her knife. "That will never happen," Kevin said. His voice was quiet but strong. The High Arbiter stood up from its throne. It was so tall that Kevin had to lean his head back to see its face. The alien walked toward him, each step shaking the floor. "You are a small creature," the High Arbiter said. "Soft, weak. Your bones break easily. Your skin tears like paper. You have no claws, no armor, no venom. You are nothing but meat that learned to walk. And you dare to refuse me?" "Yes," Kevin said. "I dare." The High Arbiter's arm moved faster than Kevin could see. The alien's claw struck his face, throwing him across the room. Kevin hit the wall hard and fell to the ground. Blood poured from a cut on his cheek. Pain exploded through his body. Lily screamed, but it was not a scream of fear. It was a scream of pure rage. The little girl ran to her father. She stood over him, facing the huge alien that had hurt him. Her small body was shaking, but not with fear. With anger. With something wild and dangerous that had been sleeping inside her. The High Arbiter looked down at her and laughed. "The larva thinks it can protect its parent. How amusing. Step aside, little one. I wish to hurt your father some more." It reached down to grab Lily. "Stop," Lily whispered. The word was quiet. So quiet that almost no one heard it. But something in that word, something in the way she said it, made the High Arbiter pause for just 1 second. That second was enough. Daniel moved. The Marine did not waste time pulling out his gun. Guns were too slow for this. Instead, he pulled out his knife and ran straight at the High Arbiter. He moved faster than any human should be able to move. Years of training had made his body into a weapon. But it was not training that gave him strength now. It was something older. Something that came from the deepest part of his human soul. He was protecting a child. Daniel jumped high into the air. His knife found the gap between the High Arbiter's chest plates, exactly where Grace had said it would be. The blade went deep into the alien's body. Blue blood sprayed out like a fountain. The High Arbiter screamed. It was a terrible sound, like metal being torn apart. It fell backward, crashing into its throne. Brian and Michelle moved at the same time. They had practiced this. They knew exactly what to do. Brian pulled out 2 flash grenades and threw them into the middle of the room. The explosion of light was blinding. The Verati screamed and covered their sensitive eyes. Michelle ran into the chaos. Her knife moved like it was alive, finding every weak point that Grace had discovered. Joints, throats, eyes. She moved through the Verati warriors like a ghost, leaving death behind her. Kevin pushed himself up from the ground. His face was covered in blood, but he could still see. He could still fight. He grabbed Lily and pulled her behind a stone pillar, keeping her safe. Then he pulled out his own gun and started shooting. The Verati tried to fight back. They were bigger. They were stronger. They had claws and armor and hundreds of years of being the most feared creatures in the galaxy. But they had never fought humans like this. They had never fought humans who were protecting a child. Grace's voice came through Kevin's earpiece. "I've locked down the building. No reinforcements can get in. The ship is warming up. When you're done, run for the north door. I'll meet you there." Kevin shot another Verati in the eye. It fell down, dead before it hit the ground. "We're going to make it," he said to himself. Then louder, to his soldiers, "We're going to make it." Daniel pulled his knife out of the High Arbiter's chest and stood over the fallen alien leader. The creature was still alive, but just barely. Its blue blood was pooling on the floor. "You should have left our children alone," Daniel said. His voice was calm and cold. "That was your mistake. Humans don't just fight to win. We fight until there's nothing left of our enemies." We fight until the stars themselves remember to fear us. The High Arbiter looked up at him with dying eyes. What? What are you? It asked. Daniel smiled. It was not a nice smile. We're human. And you just hurt one of our daughters. He raised his knife. The High Arbiter's last thought was a simple one. A realization that came too late to save it or its people. Humans were not prey. Humans were never prey. Humans were something far, far worse. The battle lasted 4 minutes and 37 seconds. In that time, the entire history of the galaxy changed forever. Kevin ran through the smoke and chaos, carrying Lily in his arms. His daughter held onto him tightly, her face buried against his chest. But she was not crying. She was not screaming. She was quiet, like she always was, watching, waiting, understanding things that no one else could understand. Behind them, Daniel, Brian, and Michelle were finishing their work. The room that had been full of Virati warriors was now full of bodies. Blue blood covered the walls and the floor. The smell was terrible, like burning metal and rotten eggs mixed together. 11 Virati lay dead. The High Arbiter was among them, its body broken and still. The other 9 warriors had run away. They had fled from 5 humans and 1 little girl. The most feared warriors in the galaxy had run away in terror. Grace's voice came through Kevin's earpiece. The Virati fleet is powering up their weapons. They're going to destroy the building with everyone inside it. You need to get out now. Kevin ran faster. The north door was just ahead. He could see it glowing in the darkness, a rectangle of orange light that meant safety. Brian was the first to reach the door. He kicked it open and checked outside. Clear, he shouted. The ship is 200 meters away. They ran out into the hot air of Vareth Prime. The 3 suns were high in the sky now, burning down on them. Kevin's legs were tired. His face was still bleeding. But he kept running because his daughter was in his arms and nothing else mattered. The eternal horizon was waiting for them with its door open. Grace stood at the entrance, holding a weapon in her hands, ready to shoot anything that came close. Get in. Get in, she screamed. Kevin threw himself through the door. The soldiers came right behind him. Grace slammed the door shut and ran to the pilot's seat. Everyone hold on, she said. This is going to be rough. The ship lifted off the ground so fast that Kevin felt like his stomach was being pushed through the floor. Through the windows, he could see the black building getting smaller and smaller. Then he saw something else. Bright lights falling from the sky. The Virati fleet was firing. The building exploded in a ball of orange fire. The blast wave hit the eternal horizon and threw it sideways. Grace fought with the controls, keeping them in the air. Kevin held Lily so tight that he was afraid he might hurt her. I've got it. I've got it. Grace shouted. The ship steadied and shot up into the orange clouds. For a long moment, no one spoke. They just breathed. They just tried to understand that they were still alive. Then Kevin looked at his soldiers. Daniel was covered in blue blood, but seemed unhurt. Brian had a cut on his arm that would need stitches. Michelle was sitting quietly in a corner, cleaning her knife. They had fought like lions, like tigers, like honey badgers. We made it, Kevin said. His voice was rough and tired. We made it, Daniel agreed. But the Virati fleet is following us. We can't outrun them. Their ships are faster than ours. Grace turned around in her seat. She was smiling. It was a strange smile, full of secrets. We don't need to outrun them, she said. I did something while you were fighting. Something that's going to change everything. Kevin frowned. What did you do? I uploaded the video. Everything that happened in that building. The High Arbiter hitting you. Lily standing over your body. The way you fought back. Everything. I sent it to the Galactic Network. Right now, every species in the galaxy is watching what just happened. The ship went quiet. Kevin felt a cold feeling run down his back. Every species? Brian asked. Every single one. The Varadi have conquered 43 planets. That's 43 species who have been living in fear, living as slaves, believing that the Varadi were unstoppable. Now they're watching 5 humans kill 12 Varadi warriors, including their leader, because the aliens made the mistake of threatening a child. Michelle laughed. It was a short, sharp laugh. That's either the smartest thing anyone has ever done, or the dumbest. It's both, Grace said. But I knew something they didn't. I've been watching the galactic communications for months. The conquered species are angry. They're ready to fight back. They just needed to see that the Varadi could be beaten, that they could be killed like anyone else. Kevin looked down at Lily. His daughter was looking up at him with those strange dark eyes. You knew, he said quietly. Didn't you? You knew something like this would happen. Lily nodded slowly. The honey badger fights because it has to fight. Not because it thinks it will win, but because it refuses to lose. And when other animals see the honey badger fight, they start to believe that they can fight too. Kevin did not know what to say. His 7-year-old daughter was speaking like she was 100 years old, like she understood things about the universe that he could never understand. The ship's radio suddenly crackled with noise. Grace's eyes went wide. I'm receiving messages from all over the galaxy. Kevin, you need to hear this. She turned up the volume. A voice came through the speakers. It was not a Varadi voice. It was something else. Something soft and gentle. This message goes to the humans of Earth. We are the Melian Resistance. For 20 years, we have been slaves of the Varadi. We have been waiting for a sign, waiting for hope. Today, we saw a little human girl stand against the greatest evil in the galaxy and say one word: stop. Today, we rise. Today, we fight. Today, we follow the honey badgers of Earth. Another message came through. Then another. Then another. Voices from a dozen different species, all saying the same thing. They were done being afraid. They were done being slaves. If humans could fight, so could they. Kevin felt tears running down his face. He was not crying because he was sad. He was crying because something beautiful was happening. Something that he never could have imagined. Grace turned to look at him. Her face was also wet with tears. The Varadi fleet has stopped following us, she said. They're getting the same messages we are. They're turning around, going back to their planets. They're afraid, Daniel said quietly. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Varadi are afraid. Kevin held his daughter close. He kissed the top of her head. You did this, he whispered to her. One little word. One little girl. And you just started a revolution. Lily hugged her honey badger toy and smiled. No, Daddy, she said. I didn't do anything. I just reminded everyone what they already knew. What's that? Lily looked up at him with those dark, ancient eyes. That the smallest creature can be the bravest. That the universe doesn't belong to the strong. It belongs to those who refuse to give up. It belongs to the honey badgers. The eternal horizon flew through the darkness of space, carrying 6 humans home. Behind them, a galaxy was waking up. 1,000 years of fear was coming to an end. And it had all started with a little girl who whispered one word to a monster. Stop. And the monster had listened. 6 months had passed as the day that changed everything. Kevin Park stood at the window of his office in the United Nations building, looking out at the city below. New York was beautiful in the morning light. People walked on the streets, going to work, meeting friends, living their normal lives. Most of them had no idea how close they had come to losing everything. How close Earth had come to becoming another conquered planet in the Varadi Empire. But the Varadi Empire did not exist anymore. In the weeks after the video went out, everything had changed. The conquered species rose up, one by one. The Melians were first. Then the others followed. 17 rebellions started in 6 days. The Varadi tried to stop them, but they were fighting on too many fronts. The warriors were strong, but they were not strong enough to fight a whole galaxy. The Varadi government collapsed in the second month. The leaders who had survived tried to run away, but there was nowhere to go. Every planet that had once feared them now hunted them. The creatures that had called humans weak and soft learned a terrible lesson. The galaxy had been watching. The galaxy had been waiting. And the galaxy had learned how to fight from watching 5 humans in a dark room. Grace Kim had become famous. Her research on Varadi biology was now taught in schools across 100 worlds. She had shown everyone where the monsters were weak. She had given hope to the hopeless. Now she spent her days talking to scientists from other species, sharing knowledge, building bridges between worlds that had never spoken before. Daniel Lee, Brian Cho, and Michelle Song had become legends. Their names were spoken with respect on planets that humans had never even heard of. They had been offered medals and titles, and enough money to buy small countries. They had refused everything. They said they were just soldiers doing their job. They said any human would have done the same thing. Maybe they were right. Kevin had been given a new job. He was now the human representative to the Galactic Council. It was a council that had not existed 6 months ago. The freed species had decided to work together, to build something better than what the Varadi had created. They wanted peace. They wanted cooperation. And they wanted a human to help lead them because humans had taught them what courage looked like. But the biggest change was not in politics or war. The biggest change was something simpler and more powerful. It was the story. Every species in the galaxy now knew about the little girl with the honey badger toy. They knew how she had stood over her injured father. They knew how she had faced a monster that was 10 times her size. They knew about the one word she had spoken. Stop. That word had become a symbol. On 100 worlds, children wore little honey badger toys on their clothes. They drew pictures of the small, brave earth animal that never surrendered. They told each other stories about the human girl who had changed everything. Lily did not understand why she was famous. She was 8 years old now, and she just wanted to be a normal kid. She went to school. She played with her friends. She read books about space and animals and adventure. She did not feel like a hero. She felt like herself. Kevin watched his daughter from his office window as she played in the small garden below. She was chasing a butterfly, laughing as it flew just out of her reach. Her honey badger toy was sitting on a bench nearby, watching over her like it always did. Grace came into the office and stood beside Kevin. She slipped her hand into his. "The Varadi delegation is here," she said quietly. "They're ready to sign the peace agreement." Kevin nodded. This was the final step. The Varadi who had survived wanted to end the war. They were willing to give up everything they had taken. They were willing to pay for their crimes. They just wanted the killing to stop. "I'll be down in a minute," Kevin said. Grace looked at him with concern. "Are you okay?" Kevin was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke slowly, trying to find the right words. "I keep thinking about that day. In that room. When the High Arbiter hit me. When Lily stood over me. I was so scared. Not for myself. For her. I thought we were all going to die." Grace squeezed his hand. "But we didn't. No, we didn't. Because of her. Because a 7-year-old girl was braver than 1,000 warriors. Because she believed something that the rest of us had forgotten." "What?" Kevin smiled. It was a sad smile, but also a proud one. "That size doesn't matter. That numbers don't matter. That weapons and armies and empires don't matter. The only thing that matters is what you're willing to fight for. And humans will fight for their children until the stars burn out. Below them, Lily finally caught the butterfly. She held it gently in her hands, looking at it with wonder. Then she opened her hands and let it go. The butterfly flew up into the blue sky, free and beautiful. Kevin walked to the meeting room. The Variety delegation was waiting. They were smaller than he remembered. Not in size, but in spirit. The fire that had once burned in their eyes was gone. They looked tired and broken and afraid. Their leader stepped forward. It was not the High Arbiter. The High Arbiter was dead. This was a younger Variety, one who had not wanted war, one who had spoken against the conquest of Earth. "Ambassador Park," the alien said, "we come to ask for peace. We know we do not deserve it. We know we have done terrible things. But we hope that humans can forgive. We hope that we can start again." Kevin looked at the alien for a long moment. He thought about the Melian in the arena, killed for trying to be free. He thought about the 43 worlds that had suffered under Variety rule. He thought about his daughter, standing in a dark room, facing evil without fear. Then he held out his hand. "Humans believe in second chances," he said. "We believe that anyone can change. Anyone can be better. So yes, we will give you peace. But remember this. Remember what happened when you threatened our children. Remember what 5 humans did to your greatest warriors. And if you ever think about hurting innocent people again, remember the little girl who said stop. Remember the honey badger that never surrenders." The Variety leader took his hand. Its grip was weak and shaking. "We will remember," it said. "The galaxy will never forget." That night, Kevin went home. He had dinner with Grace and Lily. They talked about normal things: school, work, what to watch on television. It felt good to be ordinary. It felt good to be a family dot before bed. Lily came to Kevin with her honey badger toy. "Daddy," she said, "do you think the Variety will really be good now?" Kevin thought about it. "I think they'll try. People can change if they want to." Lily nodded slowly. "I hope so. I don't want anyone to be scared anymore. Not the Variety. Not anyone." Kevin felt his heart grow warm. His daughter had faced monsters, and yet she still had room in her heart for kindness. That was the most human thing of all. "You know what, Lily? I think you're the bravest person I've ever met." Lily laughed. "I'm not brave, Daddy. I just have a good teacher." She held up her honey badger toy. Kevin smiled and kissed her forehead. "Good night, honey badger. Good night, Daddy." Kevin walked to the door and turned off the light. In the darkness, he could hear Lily whispering to her toy, telling it a story about a little girl who saved the galaxy. Outside the window, the stars shone bright and peaceful. 1,000 worlds were sleeping safely tonight because one child had refused to be afraid. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humans don't defeat their enemies. They simply refuse to lose. And that makes all the difference.